Hey everybody, this is Eddy Dacius. We're here with another episode. We have Carlos Terron with us today. Carlos is the owner of HIIT Core Fitness. So we're gonna have some time to definitely go with Carlos in terms of what he intended to do in terms of starting his own business, and we're gonna have a great time. So let's take place with our sponsors. So we have Dacius Facility Management. They will manage your property with a variety of services. Call them now 617-227-0106 or go online
Do you
www.daciusfm.com.
want to maximize the value of your commercial property and achieve optimal productivity and efficiency in your day-to-day business operations? That's where Dacius Facilities Management can help. DFM offers Boston area businesses help in key areas like building and preventive maintenance, handyman services, project and vendor management, and even security consulting at competitive rates. Call Dacius Facilities Management now at 617-237-0106 or visit daciusfm.com today.
Yes, that's usefm.com. We're excited to have a new sponsor, Eat Core Fitness. For years, you've been feeling lost with no self-esteem or confidence. Deep inside, you know you can do better than what you see in the mirror. With the Eat Core Fitness program, you can uncover your strength, energy, and power and your sense of self-worth. The coaches are dedicated to help every individual reach their goal. Call them now, 781-780-5577, or sign up online at eatallfitness.com. Like I said, we have a great show for you today. This is Eddy Dacius with Divine Perfect Podcast. We have a great guest, Carlos. How are you doing today, man?
All right. I'm doing really good. How you doing?
I'm great. I'm great. Thank you for being here with us. So, like I said, we always appreciate having guests who can help us and embrace our calling. So, Carlos is a gym owner at Itco Fitness, Braintree, Mass. Itco is a franchise too. So, if you're interested in being invest in Itco, you have Carlos here today, can tell you more. So Carlos is a father and husband, dedicated family man. He's an ex IT administrator and IT manager. He's also a certified project manager. So he's a certified personal trainer and certified nutrition coach. He got it all. So, Carlos, we have this question we like to ask our guests. What can you tell us about you?
Yes. So, just from that brief description, you could tell that I'm not busy at all. So, I like to multitask, and I like to just expand my knowledge. I'm always sort of just learning and teaching myself something new. But like you said, I'm a hardworking family man. My family is number one.
Yeah.
And I have a lovely and beautiful wife, Ellen, and my son, an amazing son. He's about to be 14 years old
Wow.
in a couple of weeks. So a little bit more is I have a strong desire to provide for my family as much as I can. I also want to leave a legacy behind for generations to come.
And I don't think you could say it better. So you did everything right. You shot up to the wife, and you did the right thing in terms of acknowledge your son, your legacy. So let's go a little bit deeper in our conversation. So it's gonna be a great conversation. We're here to learn more about you. We're definitely gonna give you some time to talk about your baby in terms of Eat Core Fitness program. But let's go about. Can you tell us what are the three most challenging event in your life, and how did they challenge you?
Absolutely. So I mean, the biggest one, and let's just get the elephant out of the room, was COVID. HIIT Core Fitness is a gym, and as gyms were hit heavy. They were hit really, really hard during the COVID times. They were very trying times. We had just opened doors in 2018, so mid 2018. So it was like about a year and a half before COVID hit. And that was tough. Like I said, we have a great product, and we have an amazing community. And we were able to have, a big part of our members stick with us. We did unfortunately lose a big membership base, and it was definitely a hit. But it can't really blame anybody. Nobody knew what was going on. And there was a lot of, we're going to give you information in a couple of weeks, and then you would wait, and then further delayed a couple more weeks, and people didn't know what to do. So again, we had a great product, and we were able to survive. We stuck through it. It's funny because I ended up being in kind of like one of the best shapes of my life during COVID, because I was working out in Zoom, doing Zoom classes on a daily basis.
Wow. Tell me about it, because this is like a transition, because now going to the gym, you have that energy, everybody's working out. So guys, if you never had a chance to be in a HIIT Core session, you definitely need to be there, because the energy is real. So let us tell us more about how the COVID affected you. And you said you did a lot of Zoom session.
Exactly. And I hate to say it, but not really, because it was nothing compared to the HIIT Core classes at the gym, as you're saying.
Yeah.
But, we did the best we could, and we had a really good amount of members and participants who were in there day in, day out, with my wife and I just doing Zoom classes, and I'm just the type of person that if I prescribe it and I'm going to have you guys, the participants do the workouts, I'm going to do it with you, and that's the sort of leader that I am, is that I'm in there working with you. And I think that's one of the things that people appreciate about me, is that I'm just a regular guy who is in here getting after it with you guys, looking for self-improvement, looking for ways to excel. So we basically did workouts, and I got in massive good shape, and we were working out 2 times a day sometimes.
Wow.
People were great because they were following along. They were posting their workouts. They were lifting water jugs and stuff. It was a challenging time, but looking back, it was necessary, because we are now who we are based on our experiences.
So let's go back to the past for you in terms of your childhood memories. So can you share with us childhood memories?
Absolutely. So one of my fondest memories growing up was definitely waiting for my dad at the finish line of the Boston Marathon. I remember my mom used to pack us like some sandwiches. She would get a cooler, and I literally, to this day, I can just picture it. My dad coming down and just waving to us. I'm fortunate enough that both of my parents are still alive.
Wow.
And my sister's only 3 years older than me, so we're very close. And I always remember that. That's like one of those memories in my childhood that always sticks out. My dad, like many kids growing up, my dad was an inspiration to me.
Okay.
I remember he was very into fitness, like in all sorts of like different fitness things. And, he did bodybuilding at some point in his early years. He did bike races around Puerto Rico. And then he began running and just never looked back. And literally, I remember him taking me around the block, and I'd be like dying. I'd be like, just trying to breathe. and he'd be like, trying to coach me, like, Carlos, listen, you need to just like focus on your breathing. and just in your nose and out your mouth. And like, and I was like, wow, I can't even hang. Like he would literally take me around the block. He would drop me off. He would wait until I, go inside the house. He would wave and go and run another 10 miles or something crazy like that.
Wow.
So,
and I can see the energy coming from you where that was like a fun memories for you.
Yeah,
can you share with us your upbringing, your household dynamic? So I know you just mentioned you have a sister. So how was it? Are you guys competitive? How was it growing up?
In my household, it was very loving family.
Okay.
It's funny because I grew up in the 80s and the 90s. You know what I mean? So things were different back then.
Yeah.
If you didn't do too good in classes, you might get whacked upside the head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that. It was different back in the days, and it was all love. And we were also a Puerto Rican family, so
Okay.
you're likely to get a chancleta thrown at you, a sandal. You know what I mean? From my mom. But it was a loving family, and my dad and my mom taught me a lot of values. My sister, she's amazing as well. She has two kids, so I have two nephews, two boys. Growing up, my dad was a hardworking, blue collar, man who just really wanted to, improve the family. He basically just found us every single time. He upgraded. And basically, I was born in Puerto Rico and came up when I was about 7 years old.
Okay.
And so, not a lot of people know that about me, but basically Spanish was my first language. English is my second language.
Okay.
Growing up, I never really realized how special that was. You know what I mean? Because people are like, oh, we make fun of you. Oh, you said that wrong. Ha ha. And you're like, nowadays, I'm like, okay, well, how many languages do you know? You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, it's funny, because like growing up, kids can be crazy.
You're right. You definitely right. And I can share with what you saw. I'm from Haiti.
Yes.
But you said something very important, and I want to highlight it.
Yes.
When you when you can speak multiple languages, so and this gives you a great perspective because you can relate to more people.
Mm-hmm.
But when did you realize that was a gift, like that was a strength, because you were bilingual?
Yeah, it's just like it didn't happen until later on in life. Like it just finally dawned on me, like, hold on a second, this is not actually a disadvantage. This is actually an advantage.
Yeah.
Like I said, as kids, unfortunately, kids tease a lot and kids bully and stuff like that. And, and I never really put it together, two and two together, where I'm like, wait a minute, hold on a second. I shouldn't be teased about, me not saying a sentence correctly or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it made me who I am because it made me really continue to focus up and try to learn and try to do this and that, but that's just how it is. Just and it kind of like dawned on me when I was like later in my, young man, when I was like, wait a minute, hold on a second. I'm good.
Yeah. So let's take another turn to this aspect where I like to take the time to to ask my guests this question. How important are those memories for you, and how did they help you shape the man you are now?
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, I think that every single one of those experiences really adds up to who we are today. Whether good or bad, the idea is to learn from it. And I've definitely learned a lot from, my past experiences. I feel like, in many ways, I'm a Christian by faith.
Okay.
I feel like God has allowed me to experience these things, and for me to kind of come up with my own, my own idea that, hey, you know what, this is the right path. This is, focus up. Let's try to do this or try to do that, and let's be a family man. You know what I mean? Because growing up, I partied and I had fun and this and that, and it's like at the end of the day, you kind of realize what really makes sense and what really is
Yeah.
worth your while.
So let me throw this question at you. What's the best compliment you ever gotten?
The best compliment that I got was when actually, so I saw a friend who I hadn't seen in a while, and we made plans, and we were like, all right, let's go get something to eat. Okay, and I'm like, yo, I have my son with me, and like let's go let's go out together. You haven't seen him in a while. He's a big boy. He was like, all right, so we meet up. We went to dinner, the three of us.
Yeah.
And we had conversations, and we had a great time. And Dylan was very involved, and the conversation, very smart, and my friend, he later then texted me, and he was like, Carlos, great job, raising your son. He is so respectful, and he's so polite, and he's so smart. And that pretty much hit me different,
Yeah.
Sometimes as parents, like, we put in the work, you know what I mean?
Did you share a few tears?
Dude, I absolutely did, bro. Because it's like, as a parent, we put effort, good parents at least, we put effort into our kids.
Yeah.
We want them to do really good, and and a lot of the work that you end up putting, like, nobody really sees, you know what I mean? You're there working with them, you're helping with the homework, you're getting up early with them, and you're putting their sandwiches together and this and that, you name it. And then nobody really sees that until it actually shows in them later on. So for me, it was like, wow, okay, I've been working hard, and I love my boy, and I'll do anything for him, and this is just so rewarding to actually hear that.
Good to hear. Perfect. So, how was Carlos in high school?
Dude, yeah, I kind of blocked out a lot of that. I never really knew what I wanted to do when I grew up. I really didn't know. My dad was always a hardworking man. He was like, if you don't go to college, you got to go to work. Like I had no idea what I wanted to do. I knew that I wanted to, like, own my own thing, whatever that was. I had no idea what it was.
Okay.
But I knew that I wanted to be my own boss. Like, I always had, like, you know what I mean? Like, I wanted to just be in control of sort of my destiny, and like, and I liked working with people. So after high school, I took some credits in Massasoit. Like, I went to Massasoit. I wasn't focused. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't focused. It wasn't that I was not smart, because I have proved that over and over again. It was that I was not, focused on what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I did not know yet, and I feel like sometimes we create a pressure to our kids. And I'm trying not to do this to my son. It's like, oh, you got to come up with what you're going to do. Like, what is it that you're going to do? Like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I think that comes with time, and I want my son to go to college, and I want my son to have the best, chances in life, but that's just not the path that I chose. For whatever reason, I chose the path of, going to work and then figuring it out, and I found myself, this story not a lot of people know, but I found myself working in a production line on a summer job. Yeah. It was hot. I was literally folding boxes. It was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. And, I met a person, and he was like, Carlos, have you ever thought about, like, networking? And I'm like, what do you mean networking? Like, he was like, networking. And I'm like, with, like, people, like, talking to people. They're like, yeah, we talk about people, with people all the time. He goes, no, computers. And I'm like, oh, hold up. And I hadn't really thought about it, right? So then I started looking into it, and then Spark. I went and got myself a professional certificate, and got a network systems administrator certificate. Yeah. From there, I just, I studied. I got this and that certification. I went and got myself my first job in IT, and I was help desk. And I just, from there, just kept on climbing. Year after year, I would give myself a raise, and I would use every single one of those jobs as a stepping stone.
Mm.
So basically, I worked up from help desk to network administrator jobs, to network engineer jobs.
Mm.
And over time, just building more skill. And that's, an advice that I would give to people in IT is that don't get stale in one job.
Wow.
In IT, you have to know as much. It's a changing field. It is always changing, like many other fields, right? But you have to continue studying. You have to continue getting different skills, because in every single job you learn how to do
new thing. Yeah,
exactly. So I worked my way up in my IT career, and then at one point or other, I went from a network administrator position. I was a network admin for a nursing home in Boston for a while, and basically, I ended up going to management.
Okay.
So, going to management, I loved it. It was my next sort of level in my journey. I was leveling up, again. I loved it. I was helping people. I was working with people. I was working with smart people, engineers, and then ended up in my last corporate job, I was the international IT support manager. So for a wealthy firm in Boston, based out of Boston, Paris. So I ended up supporting our international offices that were interconnected back to Boston.
Mm-hmm.
I was working with a group of engineers that were based all throughout the world. I was fortunate enough that I had the ability to travel in different places throughout the world. I went to London, to Luxembourg. I went to Paris. I went to Tokyo.
Jeez.
And I went throughout the States and stuff like that. It was a very rewarding job, but something was missing still,
So what was missing?
I needed something. I needed to feel like I was making more of a difference. You know what I mean? Like, even though I was supporting these, connectivities, and I was managing groups, I felt like I could do more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, right around that time, I basically, I was always kind of like always into buys and tries, like a lot of us, we went to Gold's Gym back in the day, and we were doing bench presses.
Yeah.
But at one point or other, I got into cross training, and basically I got into CrossFit like crazy, and I was that that crazy guy running in the city with a suit on, going to class, lunch break, and and then coming back to the office and still sweating and eating my lunch through calls and answering emails. I really started getting really passionate about it. And at one point or other, I saw the changes taking place in me. I was like, wow, if I can take the development that's happening in me and sort of, help somebody develop too, and have them go through the changes that I've gone through, how amazing would that be? And I'm like, that's it. I'm like, I want to get into fitness. I'm like, that's finally it. I want to help people get in shape. And literally, it was like night and day, Eddie. Like, I was like, wow. Like, it took me so many years to figure this out.
And this is great to hear, because that's the process, and that's what we call embrace your calling. So you just literally explain what it is, because you get where you feel like you're missing something. But let me go with you with this question. Which of your accomplishment are you the proudest?
I'm definitely the proudest of creating HIIT Core Fitness. HIIT Core Fitness has definitely been it. That's the foundation. That was the start. That was the biggest risk. That was everything. That was literally the start of it all. When I started, making my way towards fitness, I then started to get certifications. I was studying on the train on the way to the city for work. I started racking up certifications in fitness. I had done the same thing in IT, and now I was inspired again. And I'm like getting after book and just, going into the city and doing, tests and stuff like that and passing them and this and that. And, I got a bunch of certifications. I would travel to New York and get certification in CrossFit and weightlifting and then gymnastics and all sorts of, and I ended up making the change from IT when I got a job as a COO in a big gym. So basically, my department, my corporate skills got me that job because I was very versed in organizational flows and organizational charts.
Yes.
I had a certification in project management. I had skills in management, and the gentleman who owned the gym was experiencing growing pains.
Okay.
Going from a small business to a medium business. So he was still running a medium business like a small business.
Okay. And
so he gave me the shot and I went for it. And I was like, honey, this is it. I'm going for it. She's like, are you sure? My wife has been very supportive ever since. And, I landed that job and just got a ton of experiences. So anyways, at the end of the day, at the end of sort of like that journey, I decided that I wanted to run my own gym. I had the experience. I knew the ins and outs. I'm like, I know I can do this. Like, this is key. Like, this is, I've learned everything that I need to learn. That wasn't, it just dawned on me again. I'm like, okay, time to level up. Let's level up again. Let's take another risk. And I went for it. I followed my gut and I did a lot of planning. I planned, HIIT Core Fitness for over 2 years.
Wow.
And I did a lot of, whiteboarding, it's funny because, God bless my wife. She sent me back to the drawing board many times, many times. And I'd be like, I would be so excited. And I'd be like, all right, babe, check this out. This is what we're going to do. She was like, no, that's not it.
That's not it.
That's not it, Carlos. That's not it. And she would send me back and I'd be like, come on, like this and that. I'm like, all right, and, I'd be like hard-headed, but then ultimately I listened to it and I'm like, okay, you know what? How about this? And she was like, okay, now you're getting warmer. Now you're getting better.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So, it was a lot of planning. It was a lot of like writing and rewriting. It was a lot of content. It was a lot of late nights, working full-time jobs and staying up until 2 a.m, just writing content and putting plans together and doing financials and doing, playing devil's advocate in your own self and this and that. So the proudest thing that I am definitely, one of my accomplishments is for sure HIIT Core Fitness and the success. I created a brand that has shaken up the industry 100%.
Yeah. Definitely.
I didn't hop on to something that was already going. I didn't, join a franchise. I didn't, become a member of this or that, or I did it on my own. You know what I mean? I created this product, and like you said earlier, if you haven't been to a HIIT Core class, like,
yeah, it's night and day, man. It's night and day. Like I said, we have some time to go deep into HIIT Core and definitely to give the audience, a glimpse of what they are missing. But let me ask you this. Is there one thing you wish you knew before you started HIIT Core?
Experiences and things in life happen. I think we've mentioned this a few times. You can't really, you just got to go with it. You got to learn and continue to learn. And what I've learned, in my career is that you have to take time to dot your I's and to cross your T's.
Yeah.
As cliche as that may sound, there's facts in there. You know what I mean? Like, you have to take your time, project plan. You have to, put things apart. You have to get, focus groups. You have to, talk to those, your close circle. You know what I mean? You have to be open-minded. You know, when you gun forward and you just like, you know, shoot from the hip and you're just going, you're making mistakes, you know, and you're making mistakes. And, you know, mistakes make you who you are. But if you can mitigate a few mistakes here and there, then you're even better.
No, well said, well said. So let's go to our break now. So we have Carlos with us. Is president, owner of HIIT Fitness. They have a location in Braintree, and I think a little bird told me they're opening up a new one, so another one. So that means you guys should be ready to sign up, be a member. So let's go on break now.
Now is the time to hop into the hottest 45-minute group fitness class around. Give us a try absolutely free with our free 3-day pass. Get a great workout and have fun at the same time. Whether an athlete or someone looking to shed a few pounds, HIIT core workouts keep you motivated and part of an awesome community, all in under 45 minutes. See you at the gym.
I said HIITfitness.com. We back with Carlos. And we're gonna go deep into what we have. A few other questions before we go to hot topic. So hot topic is a segment where we talk about topics related to you and question people would have a chance to ask you. But before we go to hot topic, so how important success is for you? The reason I like to ask this question is because I feel like some people, they have a chip on their shoulder. They don't have any other option, you know. So, but how important success is for you, Carlos?
You know, I typically like to say that I have two options. I have to either make it or I have to make it. You know, like I literally, I don't give myself sort of like that notion or that idea. I don't pull that kind of stuff in. Like I'm like, I gotta make it or I gotta make it. Like this has gotta happen. You know, I gotta learn from my mistakes. I gotta keep grinding. I think, you know, like I said, my father instilled that in me early on. It's like, you gotta work hard. You want something, go get it. You know? So it's huge.
So, and then this is a great. So I started to ask this question late in the first season, and I got good feedback from it. Is when did you realize? So you know about where people don't feel comfortable and they have that imposter syndrome, right? But when did you realize that, oh, Carlos just arrived? You know, you have that challenge, you have that confidence, and when did you realize you get there, you got it? So is that how it ever happened to you? And then you like one guest told me once that they were making great deal, but they never had that confidence. And then he was on the plane and then said, whoa, I'm the man now, you know? When was that moment for you?
That's actually a great question, because that's a very, you know, that's a true phenomena that actually happens, you know. You know, I know that, you know, sometimes in life, in any sort of like new job or any, you know, new situation, sometimes, you know, you got to kind of fake it until you make it. You have to step in.
Yeah.
You know, you have to step in. You can't, you know, hold back and be like, you know, and self-conscious. I'm not going to do this because I'm not, you know, you got to take step by steps, and you can't be a professional on day one, you know, and you have to really work at it and get better and get better. And I think for me, once I started, you know, I gave myself some goals as far as membership growth goes when I go to the gym. And once I started meeting those goals, and I just kept on growing, I'm like, yes, I got it. I nailed it. I got to I didn't make it to the point where I'm like, okay, I got to sit back. No, I'm still grinding. And, you know, I put the marker even further up. I'm like, okay, now this is the next markers that I got to shoot for.
Wow.
I'm not going to feel good until I get to that marker. And then when I get to that marker, I'm like, okay, you know what? Now let's set that other goal, So like people say, every now and then you got to have a short term, you got to have a long-term goal.
Long-term, yeah.
You got to revise them every now and then and make sure that you're on track.
So I promise. So, but we're gonna go to equal, but this question is important too, because like we looking back at your journey, and we looking back at all the accolade you acquired. Is there any skill you acquired you're not using now? It's a trick question because go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I know that technology has helped.
Yeah.
It's interesting, but in a fitness world, you'd be like, okay, how does like networking or technology really, come into play? And I would advise anybody who's thinking about owning their own business to take their time and look into technology and get better at technology. It's a shame how many times you hear people saying, I'm not technically, I don't have those skills. I'm not, tech savvy or, and you're like, whoa, wait a minute. Like you gotta know how to market. You gotta know how to, how to attract people to your website. You gotta know how to, at least know what to do in a website or this and that, because at the end of the day, it's like, it literally is a ton of mistakes that you make. And if you don't have those skills and those foundations, they're going to be costly.
No, well said. So let's go to Hot Topic. Like we promised, Hot Topic is a segment where we talk about taboo subject, not taboo, but in case for Carlos, we're going to talk about equal. Let's go with Hot Topic now. All right, first question for you. Why HIIT core?
Why HIIT core? Because it's not my competitors. I don't want to say their names. It's not, it's not the orange company or the competition company.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like it's right in the middle. It's available to the masses, and you get a heart-pounding workout, in 45 minutes. And, we don't beat you up to the extent that you were getting injured 3 times out of the year. And we give you a healthy mix of barbells, cardio, and core strength and conditioning.
Okay, so now, how long did it take you to set on that name? Because I know as business owners, we usually, and whenever we have like a secret sauce, secret we see, recipe,
yes,
we want to match it with a good name. So what was your process?
Yes, yeah. So that process was kind of interesting. It was, it all things considered, it happened kind of quickly. Where I was just playing around with names and I was trying to put things together, and I knew I wanted to do HIIT something, and I just kind of like just brought it back to the basics. And I knew from my training and my certifications that core is very important and often overlooked, even from my own buys and tries back in the day experience, you leave abs to the end.
Yeah.
And that's even if you get to it, because by the time you're spent, you're like, you know what, I'll do abs. I'll do abs next week, or I'll do abs tomorrow. And then you don't do them tomorrow because tomorrow maybe you did a bunch of legs or whatever. And then you walk out and be like, you know what, I'll do sit-ups later. So I knew that I wanted to create a system that was high intensity interval training, and that it also incorporated a lot of core. Abs are huge and stabilizing. And if I'm going to ask anybody to put something overhead or hold their body weight in one certain way or another, we need a strong core to do that. And, so I was like, wait a minute, core, wait a minute, HIIT. I'm like, HIIT, core, strength and conditioning. Okay, HIIT core, boom.
Wow. So let's go with this question too. I know your program is unique and it's effective too. So let's talk about it. How did you plan to tailor the program this way? Why?
Yes. Yep. So I was coaching a class one day. And the class that I was coaching, it was, cross training class. And I saw in a couple, like it was like a massive open space, and there was a divider. And on the other side of that open space, there was a HIIT class going on.
Yeah.
And that HIIT class was like just full of people. But the movements they were doing, I'm like, yo, they're not doing the movements that they need to be doing. Like, I feel like they could be doing like the sexier moves. And here I am with a small group, and my group is doing like the sexy moves with the barbell work, and they were going on their hands, and they were doing, and then I'm like, hold up a second, there's an underutilized and a missing group here that we could be tailoring a workout to. So that's when it dawned on me that I needed to incorporate moves from different modalities, that I needed to put in barbells, that I needed to do plyometrics and jumping and reactive training. I needed to do some pivoting, some side wall tosses. And I needed to grab sandbags, and I needed to also do mountain climbers and jumping jacks. It's not all about the barbell. It's also about those movements that are going to challenge you in different positions. So putting in their sled pushing, and putting in their, bench pressing, and then putting in their supplemental exercises that complement the bigger exercise. Because a lot of times in modalities, especially when they're including those big movements and sexy movements, they let you do the supplemental exercises on your own.
Yeah.
They don't really incorporate them when, in today's workout, we have supine front races. Not necessarily a sexy movement, but that's literally going to help you continue to develop your deltoids. It's like, I got really creative with it. And I've spent a lot of time testing it, and I put focus groups together, and, friends and I, we went to, the track, and we brought barbells to the track, and we were the crazy people just testing out, different workouts. I had a fully blown gym in my garage before I had the gym, so, I basically did a lot of testing, and I'm like, okay, we got it.
So let's talk about the program a little bit. So we have HIIT core program, and let's talk about it. So what can people find with you and they're not going to find elsewhere?
Absolutely. So our program is organized to begin with, right? It's organized, and there's a bit of mystery, so we don't publish our workouts in advance. You show up and you're going to get a great workout. So there's consistency, because that there's going to be a warm-up. That there's going to be a first segment, whatever that may be. There's potentially going to be a second segment, and there's potentially going to be a core finisher at the end.
Wow.
So it's organized where you're not walking into like this unknown, like, oh, I wonder, like, is Carlos going to talk, or the trainer going to talk for a half hour and teach me about, triple unders, where I'm not even close to even getting double unders? Like, am I going to waste my time listening to instruction? Am I going to, really, get talked about and then get to know the personal trainer's life before I even get a workout in? So the person walks in, they get a warm up, then they go into a segment. We do a demonstration of the next segment, and then they get after it. Then when that finishes, then you go into another demonstration of a quick, and then a person gets guided through a series of different segments, just depending on what we have going on that day.
So let's go back to this question. Like I said, I have this great question for you in terms of equal. So how can people be a member? What's a membership process look like?
Absolutely. So basically, we have at the moment we have 2 memberships. They're both unlimited memberships. One of them is with a year commitment at $165, or the other one is without a commitment, month to month at $185. Very competitive pricing. There's a ton of value in those memberships. You know, at the end of the day, you're part of a community. You're in a small group, small gym where people get to know you. You get to, work hard with your peers. You see them getting after it. It makes you want to get after it. You start building a relationship with the trainers. We have great trainers. We only hire the best. And, that's what makes us different. And that's why there's a ton of value in these memberships. They're 100% worth it. I would definitely recommend it over any, $20 gym that's out there. You're going to get a $20 gym. You're going to get lost in the weeds. You're going to do buys and tries, and then you're going to get injured, or you're going to get unmotivated. Like, this stuff works. It's high intensity. Your heart rate is up, and you're going to get a full body workout every time.
Wow. And I know you definitely want to talk about franchise opportunity. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, 100%. So, Eddie, I mean, I've been, seeing that the business grow, and it has, continued. It has taken off. It took off right from the beginning. It's just unfortunate that obviously COVID happened and we saw a dip, but even through COVID, we did pretty good, all things considered, and we have continued to grow. And last year, I ended up, franchising the business. I project managed it from my perspective and worked with a company, franchise creator, to help me put the franchise model together. So now we are a SBA approved franchisor. So back to the notion that I want to give opportunities. I want to help people. I want to work with people. So this is basically the opportunity for somebody who's ever wanted to either own their own gym or invest in a profitable investment that has a great return, and give back. Let's spread. I basically, every single time that somebody travels and they come back, they're like, Carlos, man, you need to open one in Miami. I'm like, oh, and they're like, Carlos, you need to open one in here and there and like California and like Rhode Island. I'm like, come on. I'm like, all right, I'm working on it, and, so now we're a fully functioning franchisor. So now I'm working with another company who's helping me, advertise and helping me put avatars and everything together to really hone in on the spreading the message that we're out there.
So if let's say you had this opportunity to get a few members, like our audience, people listening to you now. So this is Divine Purpose Podcast with Carlos Terron. He's the owner of HIIT Fitness. They have a location in Braintree, Massachusetts. So what can you tell our audience why HIIT is the best?
Yes. HIIT is, like I said, you're going to burn a ton of calories in a limited amount of time. It's 45 minutes, and we give you 3 classes for free.
Wow. Whoa. Wait, what is it?
Yeah. You get 3 classes absolutely free, no commitment, no obligation. Come feel the vibes. Come get a great workout. You literally have nothing to lose.
All right, so this is my testimony with HIIT. So HIIT, I have a friend I play soccer with. His name is Carlos too, but great soccer player. But I saw him. He was ripped. He was he had a photo shoot like, you know, showing off, right? And then I met him with one of your trainers.
Oh yeah.
And he said, Eddie, man, you gotta do this. You gotta do it. And he gave me the card. And I said, okay, 3 days, free, no commitment. I said, all right, let me try. Let me find out if it's true. You know, so I went. I got the 3 days, no commitment. But the funny thing is, and one thing Carlos is not telling you, after the 3 days, you will love it so much, you wouldn't stay. So,
Yes.
so
Absolutely.
that's a good thing about it, because I never worked out that, like, I play soccer, I go to the gym. I consider myself as active, you know, very active. But I saw people lift barbell, doing a lot of squat, and I never had a chance to do it, and I did it.
Absolutely.
I did it through HIIT fitness program. So definitely.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, is like, Eddie, is that all the movements that we do are 100% scalable. They're available for everybody, any fitness level, and they're also modifiable. So, you know, if you're not able to do a certain movement, we'll give you something else to do. And, you know, you're going to still get a great workout. You know, at the end of the day, we are interval based, right? High intensity interval training. And everybody does their best. It's not a competitive atmosphere. It's not a, you know, I'm better than you, look what I'm doing. Everybody gets the same amount of time. And during those intervals, you do your best. And I guarantee you that whether you're lifting 200 pounds or 20 pounds and you're exerting effort, you're still getting after and exerting 100% effort, you know, and you're basically going to still get a great workout.
So this is HIIT Instagram page. Check them out, guys. Like I said, great. So my question is, I did boxing before. Great, it was great, but let's talk about the layout. I think you have a great layout, unique layout in terms of spacious. You have a lot of equipment.
Yeah.
So, and you have the latest. I think you have the latest equipment out there.
Yes. So basically, when I was doing my planning, I came up with the concept of 3 of everything. And then 3 of everything basically is 3 treadmills, 3 rowers, 3 assault bikes, 3 ski ergs, and you name it, and a bunch of other equipment. So basically, those pieces of equipment allow me to put people in different groups and then change them out through the different intervals. So I could have comfortably 12 to 15 people per class in a large dedicated space and move them through different intervals without having to buy 20 rowers or 20.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
That's why I'm
Wow.
able to have such high-end equipment, because I don't need 20 rowers. I don't need 20, you know, our treadmills cost like $5,000 plus each, you know, and they're self-powered treadmills and they're beautiful. You know, I was able to
The air owners, right? That was my first time. When I use it, it was great. So I was kind of scared. I didn't want to fall.
Oh yeah, they're not the treadmill that you can check emails or watch TV.
Nah, focus. You gotta be. You gotta put a workout. So Carlos, this is great in terms of my expectation when we booked this and we wanted to talk about your business personally, get a glance of who you are, and I think the audience definitely gonna dive deep into this episode.
Great.
Is there something you wish I asked you today? A question I asked you today?
I guess you didn't ask me anything about the weight loss program we just launched.
Whoa, yeah. How can I miss this? All right.
I got too much going on, man. So, you know, at the end of last year, I became a franchisee of a weight loss company. You know, through my experience, like I've seen people getting after it, man. I love the people that I work with. And it's my fault sometimes. I get like, like attached. Like somebody's like, Carlos, I'm canceling my membership. I'm like, no, like don't do it.
Yeah, I got you.
Like, I know it's so good for you. Like, we built a bond. I'm like trying really hard to get you to like, work on this movement or whatever. So I've seen people like getting after it and trying really hard. And most of us, we're able to cut down, trim up, and look good. Last year I got down to 7.4 body fat percentage. I was ripped. I carried 100 pounds of muscle. I look good. But some people, no matter how much they try, they're not able to get there. And what happens is that our body, and you hear this from time to time, it's like you go from like you start gaining weight, right?
Yeah.
Start gaining weight. Life happens. You have kids, life happens. And then at some point you're like, oh, I need to try really hard and get in shape. So then you end up going to like about here. And then you're like, and you're back here. And then you're sort of like going into this life pattern where you're really just trekking in this area. Mm-hmm. You hear it all the time. You're like, you're never really able to go back or, I haven't been that weight in years and that. Because what happens is our body hangs on to visceral fat. And we have the outer layer of fat, which is the subcutaneous fat. That's the pinchable fat.
Yeah.
And it might not be the most aesthetically pleasing thing, but it's not necessarily dangerous for your health, and you're actually able to trim it.
Okay.
But then you have your layer of abs. Then you have your visceral fat, and that is the hard to access fat that hangs in there. That's basically your body's dumping ground. So what happens is that your body puts excess fat in there. It builds up over your organs. It literally causes insulin resistance. It, causes hormonal imbalances, and what you name it. There's an array of issues that happen. So through research, I started like, I need to get something. I need to get something for my people. I'm like, they're just trying hard, and no matter how many low calorie diets you can do keto, you can do paleo, you can do, you name it, a little lower calorie, your body does not want to access that fat. Wow. Because it's full of toxins. So I partnered with Wayless MD. Now, the woman who owns Wayless MD, she's an RDN. She is a lovely lady and very smart and a go-getter, just like myself. And she put together this amazing product, and she white labeled. She sourced all these high-end products, no fillers, all natural, holistic approach, treating the whole body. And you basically target the visceral fat. You take some supplements, and the supplements are, like I said, natural, and it targets the visceral fat. It detoxifies the visceral fat, and it allows your body to go from a carb burning engine to a fat burning engine.
Wow.
So that, along with a low calorie, low fat diet, your body's like, I need energy. Where am I going to get it? Oh yeah, here, let me access the fat stores that I already have. So people who have been on it since the first week of January are up to 15 pounds that they've lost already. It's life-changing and completely safe. You don't lose energy. You basically, start trimming off a lot of the inflammation. We have too much inflammation when we eat too much carbs. So it's very lean. She puts you on a diet. You follow an app. You download an app. You track your food. You follow a diet that's basically proteins and vegetables and protein and fruits.
Okay.
And protein, like it's very lean, and you lose a lot of weight and you work out and you start feeling good. It's like a reset. So you're not supposed to go on this thing forever. You're supposed to just reset, get back to that place that you feel good and start looking good again.
Wow, you couldn't say it better, Carlos. Definitely check out the weight loss program with HIIT Core Fitness program. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm getting an ebook published.
All right, so make sure you come back to announce it. So make sure you come back to announce it. So, Carlos, we got to the end of this great conversation, and I think we had a great time to knowing you better in terms of you, the husband, the father, and then the entrepreneur. So the multitasker and the go-getter. So what can any last word for you?
No, I mean, let's just put it this way: you have what it takes. Okay, you have what it takes, and follow your gut. In my opinion, follow your gut, because it's going to drive you to success. You want something, go get it. Hard work pays off.
All right. So how can people get in touch with you?
You can email me, Carlos at HIIT Core Fitness. You can browse to at HIIT Core Fitness on Instagram. If you're interested in trying us out, there is a link on the bio that it will get you right to the 3-day pass form. You fill out that form, it kicks off a process. We get you right in. And you can also find us online at HIITCoreFitness.com. And the top right, there's a Try Us Now button that will also get you to the form to get you in there. So
let's say you say we have a tryout button. So let's show it to everybody in terms of, that's where you go to. That's where you go, right?
Yep, right there. Click on that.
And then you're going to sign up to the tryout.
That form right there in the top.
All right. 3 days, no obligation, no commitment, and no financial commitment, but you still have to commit to come 3 days, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah. You have 3 weeks to try all 3 classes. And the reason we do 3 classes is that one time is just not enough. We do so many different movements at so many different times on the tension that, you really get a good idea where, what the fitness program is all about when you hit up 3 different classes.
So the days are like 2 hours at the gym is over, right?
That's
45 minutes, right? 45 minutes.
We're way too busy, Eddie.
Oh.
We got kids to feed, and we got kids to pick up in school, and and unfortunately, not all of us are taking ice baths after training 2 hours. We got responsibilities, and
definitely. I think definitely 45 minutes is the secret sauce for HIIT Core Fitness program. So sign up HIITCoreFitness.com. This is Eddy Dacius with DPPodcast. We have our great guest today, Carlos Terron, and he's the owner of HIIT Core. Carlos, thank you for the time and appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Did you know that HIIT Core Fitness is now an SBA-approved franchisor? Now it's your opportunity to be part of a thriving business with multiple revenue streams. HIIT and core strength group fitness classes, personal training and small group training, weight loss program and corporate wellness program, and much more. Crush your competition with higher than average member retention and get your return on investment in under 3 years. We'll see you at the gym.